from a small sort of a town. Then you can imagine what Ratnagiri was. No English background. The first challenge was to cope up with the English of Mumbai and medical college. And my passion was for engineering, honestly. I still sometimes feel that I could have made a better engineer. Give time, have patience, have faith, and be very sincere, rational, ethical, and hardworking. I didn't talk about the brain at all.
Hello, this is Dr. Kaustubh Mohite and wish you happy Diwali to all of our viewers. So I have come up with this interesting thing of starting to interview most of the stalwarts in the field of medicine. Many of them have their interesting stories to tell, which will be definitely helpful to all our young generation doctors. So before I start asking questions to people around who I have a very long list of, I thought of starting from home. Yes, my first person to be interviewed is none other than my father, Dr. Mahesh Mohite. He is a senior pediatrician and intensivist practicing for more than 35 years. He is a medical director of his own hospital, which is Sai Child Care Hospital in Panvel, and has been an honorarian intensivist in BJ Wadia Hospital for quite some time. He has multiple national as well as international publications on his name and has been the faculty of more than 100 conferences both nationally and internationally. So without wasting much time, let's get into the conversation. Hello Dr. Mahesh Mohite. Today we'll converse more like a senior and a junior rather than a father and a son. This discussion will be more useful to many other aspiring doctors and who really want to know who actually Dr. Mahesh Mohite is rather than what they have heard of. Okay, so let's start with the first most interesting question that everybody would definitely want to know is who is Dr. Mahesh Mohite outside of hospital?
Good question, very difficult answer. You want to know who is Mahesh Mohite or what is Mahesh Mohite? Two different things.
Let's go one by one.
So outside hospital, he's just like any other citizen of India. He's not somewhere different than that. But then how much is that outside hospital? That must be maybe few hours, including the home hours. Majority of my life, of my 33 years of my professional career, I would say barring last 5 years, it has been inside the hospital only. So there is not much of existence outside. What the other people feel about it, I really don't know. But for me, maybe last few years, maybe post COVID, I'm bit sort of getting on the outside part. Otherwise, it was always inside. And what is outside? Perhaps you mean to say what others feel about me?
No. What are you? What do you feel about yourself? What is your personality outside being a doctor?
That also means what I believe in. Okay, so I do believe in extreme hard work. I do believe in progressive nature. I do believe that all these things, they come from physical fitness and mental fitness, and I do believe for everyone, not only for medical profession, anyone who want to really progress and who may be aspiring to reach the top, physical fitness brings you the mental fitness, and that brings you your individual professional success. And then obviously when I say that, physical fitness also brings you endurance. Physical fitness brings you capacity to work for longer, and it's up to you how you want to use that capacity. So I always believe all of us are equal, made by the God, because He has given the same healthy body to you, most of us, and is given same 24 hours to all of us. It's up to us how we use those 24 hours.
Most of us know that Mahesh Mohite is an avid runner. He runs almost every day. His routine starts at 5:30 in the morning, either gymming or running or keeping himself busy early in the hours. yeah, he's done full marathons, he's done many half marathons, and yeah, that's where all this physical fitness does come from.
Trekking,
Oh yeah, trekking, yeah.
a lot of trekking, Himalayan trekking.
Yeah.
Okay, you get connected to nature, and that's how you perhaps live fitter for a long time. It's not about how long you live. I believe that what you live should be fit life, and that's what you are aspiring for. I mean, it's not. I mean, you have seen the fittest person demising early, but that doesn't mean that you should stop doing it. Whatever longer you stay, you should stay fit. That's my philosophy.
You just mentioned that just after the COVID, you got a bit free from hospital work, and before that, you were completely engrossed in your hospital. I wanted to know from the beginning, and I'm pretty sure everybody also wants to know, how was your childhood? Were you always this studious? Were you always into your achieving goals?
Yeah, to great extent, yes. I have always been a very competitive person. I used to compete outside and inside both. So I had to set my own targets, and while doing so, obviously, I used to be competitive with the outside world as well. Now, does it mean that I was a bookworm? It's up to person who look at me. Somebody may say yes, I was a bookworm. Especially in my MBBS days, I was basically from a vernacular medium, and this is way back. You can imagine 40 years ago, maybe more than that. And then from a small sort of a town, then you can imagine what Ratnagiri was. No English background. The first challenge was to cope up with the English of Mumbai and medical college, and that's where I had to study maybe 2 times longer or hard, I mean kind of hours than the students who had come from the English medium. So that was my first challenge when I entered, and I still remember my first MBBS exam period, last 2 or 3 months. I used to be working, maybe studying for almost sometimes for 14 hours, 16 hours. There's no option for that.
No,
Later part also almost the same, but if you come back before that, yes, I was studious right from the beginning. I used to be very competitive. I almost topped every kind of my before 12th standard, almost every class exam. So I was studious in a way, but does it mean that I did not enjoy my rest of the part? Believe me, the kind of fun I have had in my childhood, my kids will never dream of it. And the newer generation, they have their different concepts of enjoyment. We had our own, but we did. If I tell you all those things, you will be fascinated to know what kind of life we have lived.
Most of the doctors, the upcoming new generation, they need not be from tier 1 cities. So they do think about how a small town boy or a small town boy or a small town girl would make actually a difference. So you have been a success story. So just tell us from the beginning, like how was your schooling, where was your schooling, then college, and how did it go?
So up to 3rd standard I was in Nashik, and then also Nashik was not a small place. But from there, my father was in a central government employer, so I had to be changing his duties from place to place. So from 3rd till 12th I was in Ratnagiri, and then Ratnagiri was a very small place. Though it was a district place, but not very well developed. So I was in a reasonably good school then also, named Shirki High School, and there I did well. I was a topper. I am proud to say that still my name is there on the board of Shirki High School as a topper of 1979, and then that's on 10th standard, and then 11th and 12th I was in a college called Gokte College, which was again a regional sort of a college, but with a limited resources, very limited. I had to walk down for about 3 kilometers then also to reach my college, and I used to play then also hockey and football and all occasionally. But yes, 11th, 12th I was more focused on my MBBS exam entrance. Then mind you, the boards today in Maharashtra state, I suppose there are 7 or 8 SSC boards and equal number of HSC boards. Then we used to have, I think, only 2 or 3 boards. So the Mumbai board was actually a Pune board. So Mumbai, Pune, Kolhapur, Western Maharashtra, Goa, everything was under one board, and through that we used to score and limited number of seats in the medical college, and from a place like Ratnagiri where there are, and then this kind of a coaching class culture was not very much there. You have to study yourself, and whatever little here and there you get the push, you get through that. So in fact, initially I wanted to even try it for IIT also, because there was zero coaching in this thing.
So there was no quota, no Latur.
No quota, no Latur, and perhaps I didn't have resources also to reach all those places. Quota was there, but it was not possible for me due to maybe financial reasons. And then still I appeared, because one of my uncle used to work in IIT and used to send old papers. But believe me, I could not understand the question also, forget solving those questions, because that kind of coaching was there, not available, and our teachers also didn't know much about the IIT. So I studied in the classical course through 12th standard, because then 12th standard direct mark used to be an entry to MBBS, and MBBS, third MBBS direct mark used to be entry into MD. We didn't have a separate CETs and all. Okay, so based on your physics, chemistry, mathematics total used to be ranked, and that's how I got into Grand Medical College, 1981. From there, as I said, it was difficult for me to cope up with the Bombay culture and English language, because it was complete, I won't say 360, but you may say 300-degree shift to our culture and the language. So coping up with this in academics as well as in a college atmosphere, it was not so easy. So it took almost first few months, maybe 6 months more than that, to get adjust to that language, and Grey's Anatomy that big. So initially we tried to read that, but the time we could reach the first page or second page, that would take about 30 minutes for me to read it. So reach the third or fourth, you have forgotten the first 2 pages. So that was the story. So gradually, as most of the medical students, you move on to a smaller books which are easy to read and grasp and maybe to remember to pass your exams. And that's how we finished. Obviously, I had to really struggle hard and work a longer duration, but that competitive spirit was always there. I used to top in one of those, maybe biochemistry, first MBBS I topped. Subsequently, I was very good at physics, physiology, and then I was good at subsequent pharmacology. I was good at it. Third MBBS, I was really good. So in the merits, I could straightway get into pediatric. Pediatric then was one of the top branches, so not so easy to get. So only top 5 were eligible to get into pediatric sort of things. So I could make it.
So when was the first time you realized that you wanted to become a doctor?
Very good question. Honestly, I was very good at maths and science.
So that was completely.
And in a 10th standard, I was one of the top rankers in maths and science, in which I could have got into any college of this state. I scored 98.6% in science maths together in my 10th standard. Believe me, then the 10th standard topper overall in my batch, I remember a girl from then Parla Tilak and Nutan Marathi Vidyalaya Pune. These were the top schools, and the girl from Pune, I remember her name was Karnik or something. I could remember those old days. She was scoring somewhere like 91%. She was a topper in 10th board, and then we used to have a very passionate kind of a list coming in the all newspapers at those all 50 toppers, and I could remember those names also. And then I was scoring somewhere around 89%. So I was doing reasonably well in those days also. So those were the days wherein I was a maths and science near topper. I could have got, and my passion was for engineering, honestly. I still sometimes feel that I could have made a better engineer. Maybe what is important is I'm happy I'm here, because of medicine I could stay in India. Had I been an engineer, I would have been sitting somewhere in New York or some kind of a US or European countries or something, which looking back now, I think I have done a better. My destiny has brought me to a right place. I don't think I would have enjoyed that today. So when I thought of, perhaps it just clicked because there was a general practitioner doctor staying close to us. By his kind of a lifestyle and by kind of his work, my mother got impressed, and she gave a push that I should go for a doctor.
Okay.
And I was more inclined to medicine, though not against the idea of joining medicine. So I took up medicine. That's how I went into medicine. Though that time also medicine was far more difficult to get into than engineering. I definitely regret today on one thing, that I could have been pushed into UPSC kind of a courses. I was definitely quite brilliant then also. I was a good studious student, and maybe with one or two attempts something I could have made UPSC, and I could have done much bigger kind of a job and bigger work then. By this time I could have become one of those union secretaries or something like that, or maybe beyond that. So, and I was having a potential of that. Looking at the kind of people who later on made it, I am sure I could have made it. But fine, at this point of time, not great. If at all, that is one thing which I could have done, but I didn't have much guidance, because then the society had only two fields to know: medicine and engineering.
Exactly. My next question was exactly related to that. You've been always mentioning either doctor or engineer, doctor or engineer. What about the rest of the fields? Were you not exposed to? That was the one of the problems, or you didn't think of those?
After 10th, you were having three streams in the college: arts, science and commerce. Commerce become BCom or CA, that's the highest on that end. Arts are the people who cannot do science or commerce.
But that thing is changing now.
That was there. I am telling you the story then. Okay. So people, maybe few exceptional, very rare, I would say beyond 2 standard deviation, 3 standard deviation, they would plan to crack a UPSC to get a time, they may go into arts. So they may go into maybe agricultural, because then they found a better way to get into that stream. But I would say of the art student, 90% of them were ones who were not very good on academic front, and they would want to develop their career in other fields. All the studious students, majority of them would go to science, medium people would go to commerce, and less studious or less mark would go to art. That was a trend then. Today there is nothing like that. I am very sure commerce are doing far better than the science people on the finance sector, and all those things, avenues are coming up. Computers, you have thousands of things, and new thousands are coming up every day. So today there is no such discretion, but then it was that way. And that is how, since I was one of the toppers in the 10th, the clear inclination was to either medicine or this, and then you have to choose the group which you want. So from 10th only I was pushed into the group which are eligible for medicine. So biology, once you take biology in 11th or 12th, you are eligible for medicine. If you take biology, you can still go for engineering, but engineering student will leave biology and then he cannot get medicine. So physics, chemistry was equal, same for both. Biology will be medicine field, and here mathematics used to come. So mathematics was here also, PCBM, and it was PCM, and rest you can get options. So you are left biology, you are not eligible for medicine. That was the system. I don't know what system now today, but that's how I was pushed into the common system.
So now that we've known your journey, now that we know from the beginning that you were an exceptional student, now let's just get a brief overview of how medical education has changed over your era to the present era. You have been a medical student maybe say 35, 40 years back, and now you've been an examiner for maybe last 15 odd years. So what do you feel is the basic difference that is happening in the present thing, and whether it is good or whether it is bad, or how things should change if at all you want to?
Let's talk about good first and bad next. So every development is good provided you take it in the right direction. Okay. So what has changed drastically is computerization, digitalization, information availability. Something is happening in US today just now, and very next moment it's known to you. That was the era when it was everything on letters. So the first digital innovation was pagers. That was after I started my practice about 3 or 4 years later. So my undergraduate, postgraduate, those 10 years, 8 years plus another 10 years were without all this digitalization. So even I used to go, I came from Ratnagiri, staying in JJ hospital. My communication to my parents were by postcard, which I used to write once in 3 months. Okay, so unless I come back after 6 months, 1 year for a vacation like Diwali or something, we didn't talk to, forget the seeing. And today you have got a FaceTime. Morning, afternoon, evening you can communicate with your. So that communication, and that has definitely added lot of avenues to the medical understanding. So you are having huge era, very easy ways of learning, simple thing. Anatomy dissection. I entered my first MBBS anatomy hall, my first interaction with that cadavers, and I literally fainted on the table. We had a big table, anatomy hall of JJ, almost 20 odd, 30 odd bodies kept there. We had a batch of 200. Okay, so part of being placed here, part of being placed there, and we used to be a group of about 6 or 8 students sitting around that cadaver, one of them dissecting, other is supposed to be watching, but that formalin smell and all and sticking on this, first day I fainted, another 3 days I bunked the college, I could not, and then after that I gradually got accustomed to that. But then next challenge was to recognizing those planes, to recognize those cadaver, their bodies, the levels of dissection, the fascia, the subacute, the muscle level, the vessel, the nerves, and believe me, sometimes there used to be so kind of a damaged bodies that you could not know what is that.
Did you have that book called Netters during that time?
Netters?
Yeah, Netters, which we used to have during the anatomy. There was this one.
We had Cunningham.
Cunningham was a theoretical book. Netters had a lot of pictorial images. This was a guy, an English guy, the guy I see, who had actually spent his whole life cutting dead bodies, and every part by part he had drew it himself.
We didn't. So I have seen, I'm coming to that. So that was a story, and then to know that further, read that big Grey's Anatomy or bigger books. Skull. There was a trend then that the whole skeleton used to be sold from one batch to other batch to other batch to other batch.
Same.
Cost remains the same. You have to buy, hand it over, buy, hand it over. So for hours together, we used to sitting like that mantrik, open skull, and discipline. This is orbital fossa, this is pituitary fossa, this is that, and then turn it around and all. Okay, and obviously through this you can't see everything. And I have seen those softwares coming today. Just rotate,
Now we have
do it up. Now artificial intelligence. Even 10 years ago when you were doing your MBBS, you are having that access. Fine. You have got that complete body, you can rotate the body, this, that. You don't get the feel, but you have a knowledge. I still remember difficult thing used to be anatomical relation. So they'll ask anatomical relation of pituitary fossa. So anterior wall this, posterior wall this, lateral wall this, that, superior wall, and we used to just mug it out because we have never seen that in detail. And now today you can just pictorially remember. See, one picture tells you 100 words, 100 picture tells you everything. So this is like you just have it, and that's why perhaps wisely the education system has reduced first MBBS from 1.5 years, which was there in my area, to now 1 year. I believe that is the reason. And then you are giving that extra 6 months to learn the clinical medicine, which is all about the wisdom. But I am sure in the coming years with AI, that also may be cut down, the whole course may they crumple down to 3 years, possible. Okay, so that's a major difference. The availability of this information, availability of information in the assimilable way, you can grasp it well, you can remember it well. Everything is available on YouTube. You just listen to that whole talk and you get the complete information. Okay, depending upon your intelligence level, you can assimilate and you can retain. But olden days, everything was through books and huge articles. One particular article I want to go, I have to go to the library and search those 300 books and those journals and read, and how much information you get, you don't know. So that's a major difference of availability of information, which is so important for learning a subject. So today's era, sky is the limit. They have everything available. It's up to you how much you can take from that ocean. In my era, a lot of limitation from the availability of information and the way you can grasp it. Huge limitation every step. So unless and until you are extremely passionate, extremely desperate to get that knowledge, extremely sort of determined to go to the top, you had limitations. Today it's not so. It's huge. I'm sure the working hours of mine and working hours of your generation, yours maybe half a time, even in the MBBS day, rest of the half you can enjoy. I didn't have that option. I had to work hard, no question about it.
So these were probably some of the positive points. Integration of all the latest advancements in making your life easy in terms of learning. What do you think has gone wrong? What do you think has gone the other ways?
Huge wrong. Once you have so many things available, the human tendency is to push today's work onto tomorrow. और ये सब तो अवेलेबल है, ये एग्ज़ाम के पहले पढ़ेंगे. One. Second, your exposure to clinical work in your MBBS day, when I say you, the newer generations. In my undergraduate day, my second MBBS used to start with clinical posting. So, for surgery 6 months, medicine 6 months. So, my surgical posting was in GT hospital under Dr. I mean a very known person, Dr. Srikhande, VN Srikhande sir. Dr. Garud used to be his associate, Dr. Nandi used to be his registrar. And they used to take proper bedside clinics for undergraduates, not postgraduates. 15th batch, they used to, every day we used to have undergraduate teaching. On a OT day, we used to wear all those clothes provided by government, which nowadays they are telling the student to buy it, I heard. Provided by them, we used to stand, attend OT, see the every procedure. On an emergency day, we were made to stay there till 9 o'clock to attend all the emergency procedures. We are given the small procedures, and a good student may get a hernia surgery at the end of the posting. If you compare that with today, you know what is happening. Students are not, it's not mandatory to attend the wards. No one is there to take the clinics. How much of the undergraduate, why I am saying this? Because I am at present a postgraduate teacher, and I get the students for DCH, for MD, and for a critical care fellowship also. And the kind of physiology knowledge they have, the kind of anatomy knowledge they have, or kind of overall clinical knowledge they have, I am sorry to say, it's absolutely no match to what we had. I mean, simple thing, auscultation of Krebs and V's, I have to show it to my postgraduate student, which states, poor fellow, how much exposure he has got in undergraduate, which I used to do in my second MBBS. I could easily tell you this is V's, this is bronchial breathing, this is cavity, this is pleural effusion on my second MBBS to say that.
But in this way, like, what exactly has gone wrong? Do you feel that the students' interaction with the students' involvement into studying has gone wrong? Or do you feel the people who were teaching, like as you said, mentioned few senior doctors, so they used to actively teach you, and that is going wrong?
Both. I am good because my teacher was good. I should not blame the system. System is bad, no doubt. It has become an industry now. Number of seats have increased. What I am telling you in my undergraduate teaching I had, perhaps today's postgraduates also don't get it. I have seen that postgraduate teaching in various places. I don't think the postgraduate also don't get that intense teaching, barring few. There are exceptions to the rule. I am not generalizing this statement. There are good institutes who are giving good efforts in teaching also. But undergraduate, I don't think there is any teaching left at a personal level. Whatever I get the feedback from the new coming students, whatever students I am experiencing coming with doing their undergraduate and coming to us, I don't think that level of intensity is left in a undergraduate test. Postgraduate, yes, there are good institutes who are giving excellent training, no doubt about it, but there is also a lot of lacunae. Many institutes don't have a robust teaching program, so definitely it's on both the end, the student as well as, because I believe till certain point of time you need to push the students and then let them take it. There may be occasional student, but that student also knows this is my last opportunity to learn prior to entering into clinical field. So I believe for post graduation the students are reasonably sincere and serious about their course, because after that they don't have an opportunity to learn. Okay, so I think it's a responsibility of the teaching institute to take over and see to it that a candidate is adequately provided enough opportunities to get hold of the subject, so that at least whoever is going out of your institute should be doing not wrong things. You should be having some basic good knowledge, and rest, see, you can't make the whole learning in 3 hours of postgraduate, 3 years of post graduation. After all, you are going to practice for next 30, 40, 50 years. So what I learned in my post graduation about 33 years ago, if you ask me how much of that I am practicing today, not more than 10%. 90% things that I am doing today are something which I have learned subsequently by attending courses, attending workshops, attending conferences, and maybe myself. So that is a learning process, because science which was there 30 years ago is not today, it's totally different today. We have to get updated. Okay, so students are responsible, but I believe in the postgraduate period or an undergraduate period, institute have to take the responsibility. There is a deterioration. There is absolutely, you take an MBBS candidate coming out of medical college today, tell him to practice the general practice, he will find tough time because he never exposed to a live patient. Right from entry into MBBS, they are thinking of entering into postgraduate. Unfortunately, in the MBBS, I don't know the exact strategies, but my faith, more than 80%, 90% students are going for some kind of post graduation. So right time they enter the MBBS, the target is to crack the CET. The CET is a big kind of a.
But yeah, that's been a problem. I've been through it myself. It's a messy rat race. So since the time you get into your UG, you are thinking about your PG. When you get into PG, you think about your super PG. Then you get into that, and then you think about where to get placements. So there's no end to that. So let's get out of that section. The next very interesting thing that I want to know is, once you were done with your pediatrics, once you were done with all your residencies, all your bonds and everything, you were the one who decided to start your own clinic. As compared to, there are many doctors who have an aspiration. Chalo, I've got these many degrees. Any corporate will take me in. I can ask for how much ever package I want, and let's live a glamorous life with no responsibilities, nothing. But on the other way around, you thought that I should start something on my own. May it start slow, start small, but one day I know with my perseverance and with my hard work, I am gonna grow big. So what led you to that thinking?
Let me confess, there was nothing planned. Not that I was seeing 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line. As I told you, up to 12th I was in Ratnagiri. My medical college was in Grand Medical College, and after finishing that post graduation I had to settle down somewhere. Mumbai I had heard of, or any metropolis, I had heard of lot of good things and lot of bad things as well in practice, and I had to stay out of it mentally. Fortunately, I was most privileged, I must say, that I was trained by Dr. Ambedkar sir as my teacher and mentor and everything till today. So we were inculcated with very good habits and rational and ethical practice all throughout the course. Apart from the clinical teaching he gave, this particular aspect he was extremely kind of say very much determined on, and that's how most of his students subsequently went on to develop their own kind of things in the most rational and ethical way. Why I chose to come to Panvel? Because while going from Ratnagiri to Mumbai on a number of occasions, I was seeing this area being taken over by SIDCO, and it is growing. New developments are happening. New development means more facilities and more opportunities. So I wanted to stay away from Mumbai but close to Mumbai. If something goes wrong, patient can be easily shifted to Mumbai. If you ask me, that's the attraction of Panvel to me. So when I started, I honestly did not take any recce of this place. I didn't know how many practitioners were there, how many pediatricians, how many hospitals, nothing. I just decided I will start in Panvel. That's how I started. One of the polyclinic was there, and you can imagine 35 years ago polyclinic. The small hospital, very shabby state. Polyclinic were made in kind of plywood, and I started there. And after about 8 or 9 months, joined with another 2 of my colleagues, we started a small hospital in Old Panvel. So my reason to come here is convenience, close to Mumbai, but not in Mumbai. I didn't want to have the drawbacks of Mumbai, where I could have put into those wrong practices right out. I was forced to do those wrong practices, which I am very poor at commerce. So I stayed away, and I am very happy I did it, because later on I realized in Mumbai, all those kind of patient critical ones subsequently I managed. Perhaps I wouldn't have got that variety and opportunity to manage them in Mumbai, because there the rich person would have moved to corporate, poor would have moved to medical college, or over the time I would have developed that attitude and tendency which many of my colleagues unfortunately who practiced in Mumbai developed that habit. So sorry to say, initially I must have lost few patients out of my, I would say, limitations of resources, and they could not be shifted. But each of those lost patients taught me so many things. I remember each of those lost patients today. I may not be remembering the best save, but I could remember every patient or most of those patients whom I lost, and because they all taught me something, and that's how I'm here today. Okay, so I absolutely have no regrets of settling down here. I'm very happy I'm here, because this place gave me all the opportunities to reach here. Not that everybody took those opportunities. So if you ask me what is mine, I took those challenges and I took those opportunities to grow. So if had anybody done that, perhaps he would have grown the same way. So that is it.
Okay, thanks. Interesting. Just stressing on one of the points that you made, you had no regrets of staying back in Panvel, because that time I can imagine Panvel must be a small village, nothing around. But now looking back, 30 years back, do you still feel that was an important, like, do you have any regrets over what decisions you took like maybe say 30 years back, 35 years back?
I'll tell you what options I had that time. I would have settled down in Mumbai somewhere. With my attitude of competitiveness and reaching to doubt, I'm sure I would have done very well in Mumbai as well. I would have been connected to some corporate hospital. I don't think I would have had my own hospital, because that required a lot of funding, which was not possible for me. But I would have run a good OPD practice and a corporate hospital. But I don't think I would have grown into intensive care at all. My success to present state is because of my intensive care, the emergency care, which I firmly believe to become a good clinician, you have to be a good physiology person, hence the pathology, emergency pathology, which is intensive care. I had that great combination developed over last 30 years, wherein I am a good intensivist, pediatric, a neonatologist, and hence a good generalist. That's what I believe. And these all three combination, I don't think I would have developed in any corporate, in any corporate or any metropolis city. One. What other option I had? I could have gone abroad.
Do you have any regrets?
60-70% of my colleagues in those days are today settled in abroad. I don't know in what capacity. Few of them are really doing well, few of them are okay. No regrets as such, because that option was not available to me because of my family responsibilities. I had my 3 sisters, my father had just retired, and I don't think I could have left them like that. So that responsibility, I could not leave it, no way. So I have absolute no regrets on what decision. And as I told you, I am a destiny's son. My destiny has proven me right. Whatever decision I took, whatever I did today, and you also know, wherever I am today, I think I have done wonderful. I am very proud and I am very happy and content person whatever done in last 30 years, and it has paid off. Most importantly, at some point of time you put all your efforts to reach that stage, and then let the destiny take care. And I believe if I have worked very hard in first 25 years, my last 8 years have been extremely good success story, and years to come it will be there with me. I am very sure about it.
So I'm pretty sure most of the viewers will know who you are, and that's why they are seeing this video. But very less people must be knowing about the next question that I'll ask. What do you feel, according to you, is your weakness? Is my weakness? Yeah.
Okay. May not be now, but a few years ago, I don't think I had that sixth sense. I could not sense the death. Whether that is good or bad for an intensivist, I don't know. Okay? Because if the intensivist feel that this is going to die, he will not put his efforts, and it will be passive death. So I believe the intensivist should not sense the death. So it was good. But perhaps because of that, few of the patient I might have stretched also. I don't think that has happened, but possible that to happen. Today, still I don't have that sixth sense, but now we have everything that can be offered to the patient, most of the things. So very rarely we need to shift a patient for some non-availability of services here, and we shift them. So that is one. Now about the weakness, I still feel I am not an extraordinary, I would say brilliant student. I am extremely hardworking student. So I have not checked my IQ, but I'm sure it's not of the levels of very high IQ kind of a people. Let me be very honest. So mine, if you give rank each of the capacity or quality on out of 10 points, then hard work, now last 5 years leave it, I'm taking a bit relaxed thing, I need to, but first 25 years 30 years hard work 10 out of 10, I would give 10 out of 10 to me. And in that hard work I have neglected even the family, you very well know that, but fine, I'm sure my family was understanding enough, and now they must be realizing what was the reason for that. So hard work, yes, I was extremely hardworking. Sincerity and ethicality and rationality, I would rate 9 to 10 for me. I was extremely ethical. I was never unethical on any front. I can very well clearly vouch. Brilliance or IQ, I'll rate maybe 7 or 8. I won't rate 10 for me. Decision making, I suppose I am quite reasonably fast. Sometimes I do go wrong, but that's quite okay. That any individual can go. Sometimes hesitancy comes, but that's, if I understand the human psychology well, that is there with almost everybody. Unless and until you experience something again and again, make your kind of a decision making capacity. Otherwise, fine. So on that, I will be like any other human being. I don't believe in a hire and fire kind of a culture. Unless and until I see something by my own eyes or hear by my own ears, I will not react to that one. And I always tend to give at least 2 opportunities for any particular mistake. Third opportunity I don't tolerate. I don't think that's a weakness, that's a sensible thing to do in a as an entrepreneur. So that's kind of an entrepreneur. I am not a very good great administrator. If at all you ask me this thing, I am not a very great administrator. I am not a great manager. I can be a good leader, but I am not a very great administrator. So maybe that's my weakness.
So, coming towards the end of our talk, what do you exactly expect from a young doctor who is just getting out of his training, his medical training as a pediatrician or in any other field, and or rather he's getting trained under you in your setup? What are the bare minimum things that you expect from him?
Lot of things. Okay. First, the mindset has to change. Here, why people come to medical field, whole thing starts from there. We need to understand this is a field of service. There are only 2 fields of genuine service in the society. One is medical and second is teaching. Unfortunately, both are getting gradually corrupted. And the whole society rests on genuineness of these 2 fields. There are a lot of things being discussed about faults or wrong things happening in medicine, but I firmly believe, even today, medical field is one of the least corrupted field of all the fields available. I don't believe any doctor for his own gains will plan harm any patient. I don't believe so. So a young coming doctor should try and maintain this dignity to his core. That faith of the patient should be at his highest. It's a vicious chain. There are some things happening, the faith loses, something more happens, more faith loses, that vicious chain need to be brought. But if you see, I may be seeing whatever patients, 80%, 90% patient, I'll try and make that they should be comforted and they should have faith. And we enjoy that. Old timers, we do enjoy it. The newcomer also should have that same target. One. Second, you may be seeing me as academic success, professional success, financial success, everything. But don't forget, this took 33 years of my practice, of my life. And if that 33 years, at least about 12 to 16 hours a day. It doesn't come easily. It is not built in a day. Today, the MD candidate comes out, he expects a good steady placement wherein he will get limited hours of working, he will get good salary, he will get his perks, he will get his holidays, and over the time as early as possible start generating his passive income. It doesn't happen in a day, it doesn't happen in a year, it doesn't happen in a decade. It has to be statement. What is, you write down what are your expectations first of all. If it is that I want to earn 10 lakh rupees in my first year, then this is not a field for you. There are much better fields to earn 10 lakh rupees in a year and less comforting and more comfortable. This field is for a lot of passion, lot of satisfaction through your services, and money is going to be a byproduct, absolute definite byproduct. You don't have to struggle for money. If you put your efforts in the service, if you put efforts in the hard work, put efforts in the patient care, money is 100% going to come. 100% going to come. Absolutely, it's a byproduct. As my teacher says, it's a unavoidable byproduct. Whether you want it or you don't, it's going to come. You establish your services, you establish your name, go to the top. Your passion should be there. This is going to come along with that. Don't start thinking the secondary outcomes and secondary. No. Unfortunately, life has become so insecure that young generation thinks that let me secure it first. But you as a postgraduate who are paid a salary maybe in few lakhs to start with, you compare the person who is earning, maybe an engineer who is getting a starting salary of 30 and 40,000. You are already secured yourself. So where is the question of insecurity? Your job is to get from that first platform to the top platform, and while you're climbing that platform, the rest of the amenities are going to come along with that. You don't have to put any efforts to get that extra. That comes. That is going to come. Whether you want it or not, that's going to come. So my advice, again, many people keep giving reasoning. Unfortunately, in metropolis, it has happened. Some malpractices here and there, and to establish for a junior has become definitely a bit difficult. That's the reason I didn't go into malpractice, into metropolis. Today also, I'm sure there is a story. Okay, but it's up to you whether you want to get into that or not, how far you get into that or not. It's a slippery path. Once you step on that, it's very difficult for you to control yourself. And then once you fall in that mud, even if you take a complete bath, one mudded, it's always mudded. I don't think you can really. And I can tell you, good, rational, ethical, clean practitioners in big metropolis cities also. And that's not a small number. That's not a small number. Only thing difference was they waited. They waited for their time. They took 3 years to establish, 5 years to apply, 10. In a city of Mumbai, there are corporate hospitals who want some good full-time consultant. They are not getting it. They are willing to pay. Okay. So there are places where you don't do all those things. Just focus on your work. I know for pediatrician who spends after almost 15-20 years of practice, even a routine patient, you would write all the notes nicely. You will 15-20 minutes you will spend in a good metropolis city, and he's very busy with that. He was never unethical, he was never irrational. It's very good, possible, doable practice. Medical field, doing an average practice requires average brain. You are willing to give time, you are definitely going to make reasonable or more than reasonable for yourself and for your next generation. Just have faith, wait, be ethical, be rational, take every possible opportunity. Simple thing, there are 10 gynecologists working in the area, put your card there. They are going to need your services in emergency. Once you give a good service, like next time they are calling you. Third time they are going to call you. The babies will come to you for follow-up. You develop your practice. It's not at all difficult. Give time, have patience, have faith, and be very sincere, rational, ethical, and hardworking. I didn't talk about the brain at all. Just have a basic, good, adequate, safe knowledge. You will do well.
Okay, so to sum it up, just your life advice in last 2 to 3 sentences.
This may sound a bit philosophical, Okay, but this is what I advise to my patients' parents. Nowadays we see the parents comment, ये मेरा सुनता ही नहीं है, ये बहुत यही मांगता है, उसको चॉकलेट देना ही पड़ता है, ये करना पड़ता है, you know. So how I tell them, कि see, God has made his brain to develop over the time, but you have a developed brain as a parent. So till the time his brain is not developed, he is supposed to use your brain. What do I mean by that? He is asking something which may be good or bad. Who is to decide that? You are to decide that. If you feel it is right for him, it's good for him, let him do it. He is wanting to eat, he wants a toy, let him do it. But what he is doing is not right for him, though he wants it. He wants a mobile. He wants something to clear, he wants something to be. That's not right. If that is not, don't allow him to do it. Neither you, neither your husband, nor your wife, nor your grandparent. So we have to decide. Now how this extrapolates to my philosophy. If something happens in front of me, first question, is it right or wrong? If it is wrong, then it is wrong. This applies to practice. No unethical practices. No irrational practices. Now, unfortunately, when we debated this, everybody or somebody will say that, I mean, these two words are how you look at it. For same thing, for somebody may be rational and for somebody may be irrational. How to? Your books are there. Your research is there. You'll have to follow that as gold standard. Follow that. So this controversy won't come. Ethics, unethics, I don't think there is any debate. This is ethical, this is not unethical. So give time, put all your efforts in these two things and put all your hard work and let the destiny take care. People say that make it happen. Yes, make it happen how? By more ethicality, more rationality, more reading and more hard work. Make it happen not by going by bypass. I don't think that's the way. Make it happen, no doubt. Work double. Put extra hard work. That's what I did. That's what I did. When I came to Panvel, there was nothing here. Even a single CSF after 6 o'clock, we have to stand to Vashi. ABG machine was not there. Ventilator, I am the first one to get outside corporate and outside public hospital in maybe state of Maharashtra. Nobody could dream it. ABG machine was not there. So fine, I thought I will borrow, I will take a loan. I got a ABG machine, I got a ventilator, I was the first one to start. I got the returns of it. I am very happy I did it then. So that today we have a standard of care ICU practices and ICU PICU. So be the leader. Don't hesitate to take risks in the right direction. Do a good counselor. Do a rational person. Do ethical person. And don't allow your humanity to die. Right from beginning till end. Don't allow your humanity to die. It is very essential. Don't forget where you started from. Perhaps that's the time you needed some help. Somebody helped you. Keep giving it. In a medical practice, add in education. I think what is dying out today is humanity. Let that survive. That humanity has to survive till the end. You may get an occasional patient who may not be able to pay. I have n number of stories where I mean you are totally moved. Okay, so people come to you with lot of hopes. Don't allow that humanity to die. Give that. What cost? Nothing. It's some extra effort from your side, and the time, like at this age, something at cost is not really a big issue for me, and it's there with almost each one of us. So I think in a medical practice, don't allow the humanity to die. Let people develop the faith in this system once again, in this profession once again. They still have faith. I firmly believe patients still have faith. There are few occasional incidences where there are some erratic things happen. So it's our duty to work hard, to work passionately, so that the faith in the system is maintained. The rest everything is byproduct, as I said, unavoidable byproduct. You will get ample. At the end of the day, you are having more than sufficient to have a good lavish life as anybody else. That's what.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I definitely know that the insights that you've shared will definitely help many of our viewers. And yeah, everybody knows that I'm his son. It's been a long journey. I've seen him working day in and day out. The main reason that I had a long list of doctors who I will be interviewing very soon. The reason I wanted to bring him first on my channel was, yes, before I start asking questions to the world around, you guys should know how actually this thing has started coming up in my mind and how things have started at home. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.